What's up? It's Richie here with Statifying Football. This is your Week 14 NFL preview. It's getting right down to the wire for a whole bunch of division races and playoff races, wild card chases, and all that. Beginning with Thursday, an actually pretty decently sized game: Dallas Cowboys and the Chicago Bears. Both 6-6. Cowboys still in one game lead in their division. Chicago a couple of games behind the wild card, but who knows? Maybe they can sneak in somehow if other teams ahead of them falter. So it's actually a pretty big game here, especially for the Bears. Dallas is coming off a disappointing 26-15 loss to the Bills. Dak Prescott, he passed for a lot of yards, 355, 2 touchdowns, a pick. They put up 426 yards, but they turned over twice in that loss. Defense had 4 sacks, but they really their offense really couldn't do a whole lot until late. They were down like 26 to, I think it was like 7 or 10 at some point, something like that. So and the Bears actually got a nice win against Detroit, 24-20. Mitchell Trubisky, 338, 3 touchdown passes and a pick. Miller, 9 catches, 140. They put up 419 yards, but they had 10 penalties. They got to clean that up if they want to beat Dallas. I think this is kind of strength versus strength. Cowboys one of the best offenses in the league. Chicago's usually one of the better defenses in the league. Bears have potential on offense, but I'm going to go Dallas here. I think Dallas is probably should be better overall. So I'm going to go Dallas here to help themselves for the playoffs. All right, the Carolina Panthers and Atlanta Falcons. Panthers coming off a really disappointing loss to Washington, 29-21. Kyle Allen, 278, 2 touchdowns and a pick. They only ran for 65 yards. They had 2 turnovers. Defense actually had 5 sacks in that game, but they lost. In fact, they fired their head coach, Ron Rivera, so who knows where they'll be. New Orleans got some revenge on Atlanta from a few weeks ago. New Orleans beat the Atlanta Falcons 26-18. Atlanta's quarterback, Matt Ryan, passed for 312, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. They turned over 3 times, and they allowed 9 sacks in that game. I actually think the Falcons are going to win. Carolina does have Christian McCaffrey, but with them firing the coach who knows how they'll be, I think the Falcons have been playing relatively pretty good football the last few games anyways. So I think Falcons should be able to come out with that. All right, the Baltimore Ravens and the Bills. Baltimore had a huge win over San Francisco, coupled with New England's loss. Baltimore is actually the number 1 seed right now in the whole conference in the AFC. The Bills had a big win against Dallas. They're 9-3. They're almost a cinch to get in as a wild card. This is interesting to me because the Bills actually have one of the best defenses in the league. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how they play Lamar Jackson, if they can slow him down at all. Ravens, though, had a huge win against San Francisco. They beat them 20-17. Lamar Jackson didn't pass for a lot, 105 and a touchdown, but he ran for 101 and a touchdown. They ran for 178 as a team. Whereas the Bills beat Dallas 26-15. Josh Allen, 231 passing and touchdown, plus 43 rushing and a touchdown. Cole Beasley, 6 catches, 110 and a touchdown. Defense had 4 sacks and 2 turnovers in that game. This will be a fun one to watch just to see how the Bills do. However, I do think Baltimore is probably the better overall team. I don't trust Josh Allen a whole lot with Buffalo, and that kind of scares me a little bit. If he can play his game pretty well, they might win it with that defense. They should be able to keep with the Ravens, but like I said, in the end, I think it'll end up going Ravens here. All right, Cincinnati and Cleveland. Cincinnati actually got their first win of the season. They beat the Jets 22-6. Andy Dalton, 243 passing and touchdown. They only had 277, but their defense had 4 sacks, a safety, and only had 271 and the 6 points. Whereas the Browns lost a big game against Pittsburgh that likely knocks them out of any wild card hopes. They lost 20-13. Baker, 196, a touchdown, a pick. They had 2 turnovers. They really didn't do a whole lot. They lost that. Oh man, the Cleveland by 8.5, but the Bengals have been in some games this year. Oh man, this is kind of tough because I realize the record, but if you've seen both play, they're kind of even. I really want to go the Bengals here. I can't pull that. Oh god, they got Joe Mixon too, don't they? I can't pull the trigger. I'll go the Browns. I think Baker and Nick Chubb, especially, probably get it done here. So I'll go Browns there. All right, Redskins and Packers. Redskins got a big win over Carolina, 29-21. It was mostly a running game. They ran for 248 yards as a team. Darius Geis, 129, 2 touchdowns. Adrian Peterson, 99 yards and a touchdown. Defense had 7 sacks and forced 2 turnovers in that win. Whereas Green Bay demolished the Giants, 31-13. Aaron Rodgers, 243 passing, 4 touchdown passes. Allen Lazard, 3 catches, 103 and a touchdown. Defense forced 3 turnovers in that game. I don't see this being very close. I think the Packers should be able to. It's in Green Bay. I think Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers, and they'll be fine. Green Bay should win by a lot. All right, then you got Detroit and the Vikings. Vikings right in there for a wild card spot. Detroit lost to Chicago 24-20. David Blau, though, an undrafted rookie, played really well in his first ever playing time, first start. Passed for 280, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Kenny Golladay, 4 catches, 158 and a touchdown. They had 9 penalties, so they got to clean that up. Minnesota, they lost kind of a close game to Seattle, 37-30. The score was close. They were down 34-17 in the fourth. They were able to come back a little bit and almost tie it. But they lost Kirk Cousins, 276, 2 touchdowns, a pick. They put up 354 yards, but they turned over 3 times. Defense did have a pick 6 in that game. I'm going to go Minnesota here. Minnesota is really, really strong team overall. Really good defense. Cook, I think, was hurt, so they'll have to rely on Kirk Cousins a little bit more. Alex Madison, rookie running back out of Boise State, has filled in pretty well when he's gotten some playing time, so they shouldn't drop up a whole lot there. And Lions are kind of in shambles at the quarterback position. Although their quarterbacks have played well, they're down to a third-string guy, so I got Minnesota there. Huge game in the NFC now. Niners and the Saints, both 10-2, both 1-2 for the seeds. Whoever wins this will take a stranglehold of that number 1 seed for a first round bye and home field advantage in the playoffs. San Francisco lost a close game to Baltimore, 20-17. Garoppolo, 165 passing touchdown. Raheem Mostert ran for 146 and a touchdown. Whereas New Orleans beat Atlanta 26-18. It's really their defense. Breeze only passed for 184 and a touchdown. Defense, though, had 9 sacks. Cameron Jordan had 4 of them. Defense forced 3 turnovers, and Will Lutz was 4 for 4 in field goals. They had 9 penalties. They got to clean that up. This is really tough for me to pick because both teams are Super Bowl contenders in my mind. Niners have a good. They're both really good overall. I'm going to give the edge to New Orleans only because it's in New Orleans. San Francisco's got to go across the country. I think, though, this game might come. I mean, this could be like 34-31, 28-27. Like, really, really good, close game. But I think the Saints prevail in the end. All right, the Miami Dolphins and the Jets. Miami, they helped out Dallas by beating Philly, beating them 37-31. They had a trick play for a touchdown. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 365 passing, 3 touchdowns. Devontae Parker, 7 catches, 159, 2 touchdowns. They put up 409 yards of offense. The Jets lost to Cincinnati 22-6. Sam Darnold, 239. Robbie Anderson, 7 catches, 101. They only had 271 yards and they had 10 penalties in that game. Miami's actually been playing pretty good football the last month or so. Jets are very hot and cold. They beat Dallas earlier this year. They killed Oakland a few weeks ago, and then they lost to Cincy, so who knows what they're getting. I'm going to go Miami here just because of relative consistency, at least as of late. All right, the Colts and the Bucks, big game here. Kind of for both teams. The Colts are 6-6. They're one game down out of a wild card spot. The Bucks, they're 5-7. They're a few games out of a wild card spot, but who knows what could happen. Indy coming off a disappointing 31-17 loss to Tennessee. Jacoby Brissett, 319 passing, a touchdown, but he threw 2 picks. Zach Pascal, 7 catches, 109. They put up 391, but they had 3 turnovers in that loss, including allowing a blocked field goal return for a touchdown. The defense, 6 sacks in that game, forced 2 turnovers. And that will play into my pick for this game. Tampa Bay, they actually played really, really well. They beat Jacksonville 28-11. It was 25-0 at halftime and kind of just cruised. Winston, 268 passing, didn't throw a pick, but he did fumble. Defense had 5 sacks, forced 4 turnovers, had a fumble return for a touchdown, and only allowed 242 yards. I'm actually going to go the Colts here because the Colts defense is one of the best in the league. They have a strong running game. Brissett's pretty good at quarterback, but their defense gets a lot of pressure at the quarterback, and I do not trust Winston at all. either they'll get to him and he'll fumble it, or they'll pressure him and he'll throw an interception. And I feel like that's what's going to happen. Unfortunately, I want the Bucs to win, and they have the offense too. If Winston can withstand the pressure, they're gonna get a lot. If he can withstand the pressure, the Bucs can win. But I don't believe in him, so I'm gonna go actually the Colts to win this one. The Broncos and Texans. Texans off a huge win over New England, taking a full game lead in their division. Broncos got a big win over the Chargers, but they're still kind of meh here. The Broncos beat the Chargers 23-20. Drew Lock had his first start, 134, 2 touchdowns, a pick. Defense had 3 sacks and 2 turnovers. Houston beat New England 28-22. Watson, 234 passing, 3 touchdowns. Defense had 3 sacks, but they did allow 448 yards. I don't think that'll be a problem here. The Broncos' defense is usually pretty good. It's just their offense is very inconsistent. I'm going to go Houston here just because they have an overall team. They're kind of a wild card in terms of potential Super Bowl. Maybe they can disrupt, beat a Baltimore. They've shown they can beat the Patriots at least once. But so I got Houston in a win there. All right, Chargers and Jaguars. Both teams kind of don't have a lot to play for anymore. Chargers lost to the Broncos 23-20. Rivers 265, 2 touchdowns a pick. Mike Williams 5 catches, 117. They turned it over twice in that close loss. Jacksonville got killed by Tampa Bay 28-11. They started Nick Foles. Nick Foles sucked. Gardner Minshew came in, actually played really well, passed 147, touchdown pick, and that's just coming in after halftime. They allowed 5 sacks. They turned over 4 times. They didn't have 4 sacks in that one. Gardner Minshew is going to start the rest of the season, which is good for them. He's really good. Foles, I don't know what happened with that. However, this game, Chargers have to go across the country to Jacksonville, but I think Chargers probably, they did a better quarterback play with Rivers. He's a Hall of Famer. And then I think Chargers have a better overall team. So I'm going to go Chargers getting the win there. All right, the Titans and Raiders, really, really big for a wild card spot. Titans are 7-5. They're a little bit behind Pittsburgh, who is 7-5 for that last spot. Oakland is 6-6. They're 1 game behind if they want a chance. And then Tennessee's only 1 game behind Houston for the division lead. Tennessee, they beat the Colts 31-17. Tannehill 182 passing, 2 touchdowns. Derrick Henry ran for 149 and a touchdown. Defense had 3 sacks, forced 2 turnovers, and they blocked a field goal return for a touchdown. The Raiders got killed by Kansas City 40-9. Carr 222, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Josh Jacobs was really it. He ran for 104. Darren Waller had 7 catches for 100 yards. They turned over 3 times and had 12 penalties in that game. I think Tannehill's playing really, really well over the last 4 games or so with Tennessee Raiders. They're kind of hot and cold. They're kind of trending down a little bit. So I'm going to go Tennessee, get a big victory there that could mean a lot for the wild card spot later on and even in the division. All right, KC and the Patriots. Patriots coming off a disappointing loss to Houston. They lost 28-22. Brady, though, ended up with pretty good stats, 326, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick. Edelman, 6 catches, 106, and a touchdown. They put up 440 yards, but a turnover once, which kind of costing them that game. Defense, though, did have 3 sacks and only allowed 276 total yards in that game. Whereas the Chiefs, they beat Oakland 40-9. Mahomes, solid overall, 175 passing, a touchdown, ran for 25 more and a touchdown. But it's really their defense. Forced 3 turnovers, had a pick 6, and the touchdown that Oakland got, they blocked that extra point, returned it for 2 themselves. I think this will be it's a rematch of the AFC Championship game there. I'm interested to see how the Patriots defense, they haven't done great so far against the 2 pretty good offenses they played. The Chiefs seem different though this year. They're not quite as dangerous as they were last year. But they're still a formidable foe. Patrick Mahomes is still there. I do think New England, though, I think maybe they enter that Houston game. Hopefully for them, they found something on their offense to get going, to start off with. And I think the Patriots will end up taking this game over the Chiefs. But this is a really, really big game for playoffs for both teams. All right, Steelers and Cardinals. Steelers, huge game for them. They're 7-5. They're solidified in that number 6 wild card spot as we speak. They can't slip up there because there's a bunch of teams in the AFC either right there with them record-wise or 1 game behind them. They cannot slip up this week. Pittsburgh had a huge win against Cleveland, 20-13. Doug Hodges started. He's going to start the rest of the year. He passed for 212, a touchdown and pick. James Washington, 4 catches, 111, and a touchdown. Defense had 5 sacks and forced 2 turnovers in that win. Arizona got demolished by the Rams, 34-7. Kyler Murray, probably his worst game of the season. 163 passing, a pick, ran for a touchdown. They only had 198 yards. They allowed 6 sacks in that game, and they gave up 549 yards of offense. I'm going to go the Steelers here. I like their defense is really strong. Their offense is getting just enough going with the quarterback play there. But the Israeli defense should be able to slow Kyler Murray just a little bit, just enough to come out with the victory. This might be a victory. It might be a pretty tough, close game, like a 21-20 sort of, 24-22 kind of weird score or whatever. But I think the Steelers end up on top. All right, Seattle and the Rams. Seattle coming off a big win over Minnesota, 37-30. Russell Wilson, 242, touchdown to pick. They ran for 218 yards. They put up 444 yards, but they did turn over twice, which they can't do against the Rams' always potent offense. Chris Carson ran for 102 and a touchdown. Defense forced 3 turnovers in that win. The Rams demolished Arizona, 30-47. Goff's best game of the year, probably 424, 2 touchdowns. Robert Woods, 13 catches, 172. Tyler Higbee, 7 catches, 107, and a touchdown. They put up 549 yards. Defense themselves had 6 sacks and a pick 6 in that game. This will be a really interesting game. That before last week, the Rams offense had been floundering. It seems like maybe they caught something there, got something back there. This should be a really interesting game. Rams have to go up to Seattle. 2 really good quarterbacks, 2 young good quarterbacks, 2 pretty good offenses. That being said, I think and the Rams they're like one game behind the wild card spot, so this is huge for them if they want to try to get into the playoffs. I'm not sure that they can take it here though. I think Seattle has the better overall team. This will be a really good game though, 27-24 kind of win for Seattle though there. Then the Monday night game, Giants and Eagles. This is a big one for the Eagles, especially if Dallas loses on Thursday. Giants, though, they lost 31-13 in Green Bay. They turned over 3 times. Daniel Jones passed for 240, but a touchdown at 3 interceptions. Whereas Philly, unfortunately, lost to Miami. They could have gained ground and tied Dallas at the top of the division, but they didn't. They're 5-7, 1 game behind Dallas. It's big if they want to try to get into that division race. Wentz passed for 310, 3 touchdowns. Alshon Jeffrey, 9 catches, 137, and a touchdown. Defense had 3 sacks, but they had 10 penalties in that game. I do think Philly will bounce back here and be able to beat the Giants. I think Philly's overall team is solid. The Giants still kind of trying to figure stuff out overall there. So I got the Eagles in that one. All right, so that's my Week 14 NFL update. Check out my college stuff. It's championship weekend. Check out that video. And check out my future bowl ones, but from here on out, it's mostly the NFL. So check out everything, leave comments, like, subscribe, everything. Peace.
Don't feel like home. Don't feel like home. Don't feel like home. Don't feel like home.
Been down, I had lost all hope and wake up, try to find my focus. Meet someone new, but the walls ain't broken. It's a never-ending circle I'm in. Time slow when you're on your own and miss seeing that name on your phone and phone rings, not you, heart slow, man. Why you gotta switch up the plan?